Okay, hey guys, welcome to day 4 of the 14-day challenge. And so today we're going to be talking about tracking your energy because what you don't measure doesn't get improved. So energy is very subjective. So if we aren't tracking how much energy we feel on a daily basis, then you might not really notice any difference. So this isn't something that you have to do forever, but what I've found is that it's super helpful, especially when you're starting to eat a low carb diet. So in this live, I'm going to walk you through a simple energy journal system so you can start to see patterns instead of just guessing. And then I'm going to be walking through my day 4 of my power list. So it's going to be what I ate, the water, sleep, movement, and accountability piece. So you can kind of see how it fits into real life. Um, each day I focus on 5 critical tasks. So these are things that are going to move my health forward. Number 1 is stick to a meal plan. So it's the strict, moderate, or liberal carb level. Number 2 is the hydration. So that's my water and electrolytes for the day. Number 3 is my bedtime and my wake up time that I have set for the day. Number 4 is my movement. So that's going to be my daily workout. And number 5 will be posting to the thread that I have in Skool. So I keep this really simple. Either I did the task or I didn't. And at the end of the day, it's a win or a loss based on these 5 critical tasks. So now I'm going to be breaking down how to track your energy. So this is going to be with an energy journal. So tracking your energy starts with a simple 1 to 10 scale and a really basic journal layout that you can repeat each and every single day. So first, here's what the numbers mean. So number 1 is going to be the most tired you've ever been, and number 10 is going to be the most energized you've ever felt. And so everything else is just a gut check in between. Just don't, there's no wrong answer here. It's just what you feel on a daily basis. And you'll get a better grasp on this the more you do it. So just keep on with it. And then each day you'll start a new journal entry. So at the top of the page for that day, you're just going to write the how many hours you slept the previous night, and then anything big that might be affecting your energy. So this could be stress, maybe some travel, maybe you were sick, a later night than usual, something like that. Just anything that's going to affect maybe how you'll feel the next day as far as like energy goes. And then 3 times a day, you're going to check in with a journal entry. So that's going to be morning, afternoon, evening. And then you'll just choose 3 times that work for you. So it could be 8 a.m., 1 p.m., 8, and then 8 p.m. in the evening. What anything that works for you, just so you can get these journal entries in. And so each post is going to look something like this. So you'll get your time, energy score, last meal, and then exercise up until that point, and then any notes that are going to be helpful for it. So the morning entry might look something like this. So at 8 a.m., you'll mark down, I feel like a 7 energy. The last meal is about 6:30. So that was at dinner. There's no exercise up until this point. So you don't write that down. And then you feel rested and clear. Just something as simple as that. And then afternoon entry might look something like this. So 1 p.m., the energy is 5. My last meal was 12:30. And then there was no exercise up until this point. And then the notes are lots of sitting and back-to-back calls. So that might be why your energy levels gone down a little bit. I mean, anything that could be helpful for notes, that's what you're going to want to put. And then I have some tips here for you. So you don't need to overthink this, like I mentioned before. You just got to ask yourself, how much energy do I feel like I have right now? And then you just write that down. So just don't overthink it. Just whatever you feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, just write it down. And then another thing that I found super helpful, because like if you're as prone to forgetting, excuse me, as I am, I always set my alarm for so many different things. And like people that I know that are doing stuff like this or like have something to do and they don't set alarms, I always mention I just set alarm so you won't forget. But I set alarms for everything. So what I'll do for something like this is I'll set alarm for each time I want to check in. That way I don't forget at all, and then I can just quickly go in and write my entry. So it's just a time, energy score, last meal, exercise notes. It shouldn't take that long, but at least you'll have something to notify yourself so you're able to actually stick to this. And then when you consistently do this for a few days, you'll end up starting to see patterns instead of just thinking very broadly that, oh, I was just tired. You'll have more specific information to go off of. And then you'll start to see different patterns that show up. And then it becomes a lot more clear what you need to adjust. So, with that being said, let's jump into what I did for my challenge. So, let's start with task number one, sticking to the diet. So, like I said, I'm on the strict diet, so that's under 25 grams of carbs. That's the only real metric that I care about at this point. And there's a reason why I did that is because when you're first starting a low carb diet, it could be overwhelming with all the different things you got to be thinking about. But just to get things going, that's the most important thing to think about. And then you're not overwhelmed, anything like that. Like I said in past lives, I don't normally track. I'm just doing it for the sake of this. But usually my meals end up like this. So I end up getting like the protein that I need, which is usually 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, ideal body weight. And so right now I'm about 185, 190, something like that. So I'm getting more than that. As you can see, I was getting closer to the to my carb cutoff today, but I kept that in mind. So at the end of the day, I just didn't eat as many carbs. And so in the morning, I ended up having an omelet. I had some salsa, cheese on it, some ground hamburger meat that I had. I had a slice of bacon in there as well. It was 3 eggs and then a half avocado. So it was a pretty solid breakfast. I was full after that. I was not hungry at all during the day until my dinner time, and I ended up having dinner after my exercise. And so yeah, no, I wasn't hungry at all during the day. So this went well. And then the second task is the water and electrolytes. So for me, it's 3 liters. And so it's going to be different for everyone. But the way that I came up to 3 liters was it's half your body weight and then that in ounces. And then I can just convert it to liters just because it's better to think about in my mind. And then that brings us to number 4. So I hit this task too, in bed by 9 p.m., woke up at 4:30, I don't press snooze or anything. I just get up right away. And then the next task is the movement. So I did a 12-kilometer easy run. That's usually what I do on my Sundays. It's one of my longer runs. And so something that I can suggest here is because like for me, I'm in a place where winters are pretty bad. So the roads are super slippery. There's lots of snow and stuff. So I don't want to risk slipping on the ice or anything like that. Sometimes I'll go outside for a run. But then sometimes it gets super cold and it's like, I don't want to run outside. So I'll run on a treadmill, and I don't really enjoy running on a treadmill. So something that I've kind of incorporated to these longer runs where I'm going to be on the treadmill for a little bit of time. Like for Sunday, it works perfectly because I've got a show that I'm watching that comes out on Sundays, which is Landman. So I'm able to throw that on, and it's a little bit more enjoyable when I'm doing these longer runs on a treadmill, which I don't enjoy very much. But just a tip there. And then for the last task is the accountability. And so this is just where I check in with the Skool group on the accountability check-in thread. And so I just make a post there, just kind of holding myself accountable, be able to do that. And so tomorrow we're going to be talking about how having a simple, consistent routine actually makes things easier to understand why you maybe had an off day. So if you're more tired, you just weren't feeling very well, whatever the case may be, and then it makes things easier to tweak. And then I'll talk about like how you do that without blowing up your whole schedule. So also, if you did want to jump in with me doing this challenge, feel free to join the Skool group. You'll see it somewhere in the description here. And so it's free right now. You don't have to pay for anything. You'll get all the resources. So you'll get the food list, meal plans for the 3 tiers of the carb levels. So that'll be the strict, moderate, and liberal. And then you'll also get the step-by-step guide that I set up in there that you'll just follow. It's super quick to go through, but just give you the laydown of the challenge, all that kind of stuff. And then the accountability from other people doing the same thing that you're trying to do. So if you did have any questions or anything that you want me to cover in the next live, just feel free to drop them in the comments. And then if this was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. But that's all I got for you today. So I will see you tomorrow on the next live, and I hope you have a good day.